Greeting YouTube. Today we're looking at Good Stuff, a reminiscence of my father, Cary Grant, written by Jennifer Grant, the only child of Cary Grant. There's a nice little photo in the back from the back. I like that. Very appropriate for the back of a book. The book does have some nice photographs in it. It's got snapshots of documents and things, telegrams and things like that were sent, and Cary Grant kept an amazing amount of information about his daughter. Now, see, he had almost all of the information from his childhood destroyed because of World War I. So he lost all of the memorabilia from his childhood. I mean, I still have letters and cards from my grandparents from when I was a child. I still have a couple of stuffed animals that I got when I was a kid, one of which I received when I was like less than one. But Cary Grant lost all that stuff. So he documented his daughter's life. He saved every letter, every telegram, every photo, and he put them in an actual vault in the basement of their home. And when eventually his last wife, number 5, he was a Marion type, decided to sell the place, all that information went to the Jennifer Grant, and she eventually began to process it, both emotionally and physically, because there it was, the irrefutable proof that her father really was gone, and out of that grew this book. And this isn't a story of Cary Grant's life. This is a story of his life with his daughter, and she was born when he was 62. So it's the story of his 62 until he died. She was 22, I think, or 20. So 82 when he died. She was 20 when he died. That 20-year span and their life together. And in the beginning, it was just the two of them, and shared custody with his ex-wife because her parents divorced when she was very young. I don't know if she actually has any memories of them ever living in the same roof or not. And then eventually he married his last wife, who was a whopping 46 years younger than him. That's a lot. But they seemed to really love each other, which was nice. And they were together right up until his death. And she and Jennifer Grant grew quite close, so that they actually had a functioning family, which was also very nice. So if you're looking for information about Cary Grant during his career, this is not the book for you. This is the book if you want to know what his life was like after he retired, because he retired to become a full-time father. He was able to give attention to Jennifer Grant in a way that almost none of us ever experienced. Because even though he had joint custody, whenever she was with him, she was with him. He was present all the time. And that's powerful. That's how many of us experienced that? How many of us got to live in a world where our parent was there all the time for us? Now, I did have a little bit of a problem dealing with the fact that Cary Grant really did ignore his own privilege. Now, Jennifer Grant didn't. She addresses her privilege, the privilege that she was born into. But I still think that some of her privilege is still blind to her. But Cary Grant was completely and utterly oblivious to his privilege. He thought America was the greatest place in the world. That's why he became a citizen. He thought capitalism was awesome. And if you're a wealthy, British, white, straight, cisgender man, America and capitalism are awesome. If you're not those things, they aren't. And I don't think he was ever really aware of that. He did bump into it occasionally. They had a favorite nanny of hers that was black, and that the difficulty of bringing her in public with them, even into the 70s. So that kind of bothered me, that a man that I have great respect for was a conservative, which is, to my mind, is a negative, um, and was so blind to his own privilege. And I know I've read about his early life before, but seeing this through the eyes of someone that is my contemporary, because Jennifer Grant and I are roughly the same age, um, was powerful and refreshing and a little sobering. So, if you like Cary Grant and you'd like to know more about his life after his career was over, um, this is definitely a book I would recommend. I actually asked my father if he wanted to read it because he's a major movie buff, just like I am. Though his movie era tended to be a little earlier than mine. But he's like, I said, you don't have any interest in this, buddy? He's like, yeah, not really. Which was an uncharacteristically light response from my father. It made me laugh. My father is a bit of a straight man, and if you think my sense of humor is dark, it's genetic. I got it from him. But yeah, a good book, not huge, didn't take long to read. I enjoyed myself, and if you like Cary Grant, this is something I think that you would enjoy.